Hi, Meathead Matt here. Not all accessory lifts are created equal. Most are great, some less than great. In this video, we're going to tackle the question, what are the best bench press accessory lifts, specifically to increase your strength on bench? And what I mean by best, which accessories are going to help you blow up your bench rather than keeping you in that plateau for even longer. These are accessories that I personally use and that have helped me achieve a bench that I'm proud of. I currently use many of these on my road to a 500-pound bench press. I'm currently around the 440 range. That's my ultimate bench goal right now, is a 500-pound bench press. I'm a lifelong natural lifter, but if you're on the juice, these accessories are likely still your best bet on leveling up your bench press. And what I mean by best accessories, these are the accessories I think will help you put up bigger numbers, not necessarily put on as much muscle as possible. There is a difference between training optimally for strength versus optimally for muscle gain. You can certainly train for both. There is obvious middle ground. I've personally spent most of my training career training for strength rather than size, and I've gotten bigger as a result. And the reverse is true for many. I personally know many people that focus on size and they get strong as a result. However, there are definitely exercises out there that are probably more suited to help you put on muscle, and the exercises I'm going over today are the ones more suited to increase your bench press numbers. This isn't a tier list video. I'm not ranking them S to F tier. I'm just giving you my personal favorite exercises, not going through all the dozens or hundreds of combinations. And my caveat, as always, I can only speak to what has personally worked for me anecdotally. What has helped my bench press journey, yours is gonna look a bit different. People have different leverages, insertions, sticking points, and form. I've also never done equipped powerlifting, so I'm not going to really talk about slingshots or other equipped specific accessory movements. And if you find this video helpful, please give it a like, a comment, consider subscribing. I have a big goal of reaching 500 subscribers by this summer. So if you like this content, please help me out with that. So first off, let's talk a little bit about sticking points. What are they? Sticking points, my definition, is where the barbell either slows down or is at a point of failure. And for the bench press, I think there are generally going to be three main sticking points. One, the bottom, pressing off the chest, those first few inches or so. This is a major sticking point to those who compete, and they have to hold it on their chest until the judge says press. And when the judge says press, you can't ever let the barbell go down, so no sinking into your chest after the press command. The next sticking point is what I call the mid-range. This is when you're 2-3 inches off your chest and your chest is still very much engaged, but you haven't begun the lockout quite yet. You're starting to really feel your triceps get engaged. Again, this is kind of subjective. Your mid-range might look and feel a little bit differently compared to others. The third main sticking point I would consider is the lockout. So your triceps are fully engaged and you're extending your arms until they are straight. In competition, you would have to wait for a rack command before racking the barbell and disengaging. You're physically unable to press without utilizing your chest in some way, but it's basically all triceps for those last few inches. Though, if you're a brand new lifter and you're in your first few months, I wouldn't worry too much about this. Please just keep lifting with intensity and watch this video again when you're experiencing a plateau. Exercise selection for strength will become more important as the years roll on. Your ideal accessory movements, especially those you do at first, like right after bench press, should not be chosen at random. So your accessories you do should be to target your sticking points. If you're really great at the lockout but struggle to get it off your chest or struggle with the pause, then your ideal accessories are going to be different than someone who can get it off the chest but can't lock out. If you have an accessory movement and you don't know why you're doing it, ask yourself why. Write down in your program, I'm doing this movement because blankety blank. And if you can't fill in the blank, you might be doing junk volume or just spinning your wheels and strengthening your strong points rather than your weak ones. Going that route will ensure you're always going to go heavy each pressing day, but it's not going to help you get over that plateau. And it's definitely possible to have multiple sticking points, and you can target more than one at a time. I'll get to that here in a minute. If you don't know where your sticking points are, film yourself going near failure. Reflect on your experience in that set or in that heavy single, and where you either failed or really slowed down, that's probably your sticking point. Though having a couple videos to ensure that is probably a good idea. And honestly, if you didn't film it and post it to Instagram for a total of 7 views, did you even lift it? So let's go through each one of these sticking points and exercises I believe you should be doing to address those. I also believe in specificity. As you get closer to competition or your goal, your exercises and your sets and reps should closely mimic what you're trying to do. Let's start with the bottom of the the bench. This really becomes a sticking point for new competitors who haven't really paused the weight at the bottom. Then the judge gives them a long pause, and they either can't get it off their chest, or maybe they can get like an inch or two, but then they fail. This is also an easy one to misdiagnose. If you added weight that is far above what you're capable of course you're not going to be able to press it. Think of this as weight you can probably do touch and go with, but maybe you can't pause it. If you want to be able to pause it, these are movements to help with that. So this one is probably going to seem really obvious. If I had a harder time getting off my chest, I would spend most of my time, and my main accessory movement would be paused bench press. Lower the weight a little bit, pause it for a 2 count at the bottom, and press with intensity. This forces you to think about the press rather than just muscling it up. You'll end up inadvertently training your leg drive more and driving your shoulders through the bench. See my last video for more information on that. You're going to notice a pattern that I choose exercises that directly and obviously target what my sticking point is. What were you expecting here? Speedy incline presses? If you struggle with a pause, do more pauses, longer pauses. Just start pausing if you're not good at the pause. Real quick, record scratch. A Larson press, or a feet up press, is a variation you can add to any accessory that I'm talking about today. Doing a Larson press eliminates leg drive and forces upper body strength and stability. So to make this harder, kick your feet up, keep them straight, and then do your pauses. Gotta make the pause even harder since you're no longer using leg drive. As you get closer to competition or your PR day, ditch the Larson press and go back to feet on the floor. You're going to want to get more specific to your goal the closer you are. Let's talk about mid-range next. This kind of blends in with the lockout work, as you're gonna see, and there are so many more options to choose from now. Way too many for one video. What could arguably help you with your lockout could arguably help you with your mid-range as well. So I'm just gonna speak to what has personally worked for me. My personal number one would be Spoto press. It's named after Eric Spoto, a former world record holder for the bench press. Here's how to do it. Set up in your regular bench press position, or Larson press for an extra challenge. Lower the bar until it's about an inch above your chest. Pause for a short time, like a 2 count. Explosively press the bar back up. You can play around with the distance between the bar and your chest. An inch above your chest is also likely going to help a little bit with your pause, and 2 or maybe even 3 inches off your chest is likely to help with your lockout as well. My next personal favorite for the mid-range sticking point would be the floor press. This limits your range of motion, so you can't really get to the bottom. Limiting range of motion sounds easier on the surface, but if the mid-range and your lockout are your weak points, then you're starting the press at your weakest point. It's going to be a lot harder than you think. Lastly, let's talk about the lockout. This one definitely has the most options to choose from. There's so many different tricep exercises out there, and most of them will probably give you bigger and stronger triceps. Pick your poison. But my philosophy is, it's got to be specific to my goal. So it's got to look like what I'm trying to do. So my number one accessory movement is close grip bench press. Again, pretty obvious. This is my first choice because it's so similar to just the bench press, and it's specific to my goal. Everyone's close grip is different. If your grip is closer than your normal grip, you're doing close grip. Though, be real. Don't just do like half an inch. The goal is to actually work your triceps. My grip naturally is pretty wide, so I go just about 1 fist length closer, or maybe a little closer for a little bit more of a challenge. Maybe you can see how you can combine different variations of these to work on multiple sticking points at once. You could do a close gripped Larson press, or close grip Spoto press, or close grip Spoto Larson. Sounds like I'm speaking a different language. My next favorite for the lockout is going to be boarded bench. So 2 board or single board. They sell pads and other accessories, or you can use a literal piece of wood. But this again makes it so you're basically only doing the lockout. It's not easier. If the lockout is your weak point, this one is difficult. Starting at your weak point sucks, but it's worth it. But you're really just overloading your triceps and focusing on the lockout. Try this paused or feet up for an extra challenge. So let's put this into practice. Let's make a bench program where I'm benching just twice a week. Let's keep it pretty simple. We're going to take a periodization approach. I want to do a whole video on periodization and programming for yourself, but suffice it to say our exercise selection and our sets and our reps are going to get more specific over time to our goal. Our goal is a maximum bench press for a single rep. Let's keep it simple. Let's say we train bench Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my personal sticking point is my lockout, so let's program to address that sticking point. We're going to take a simple periodization approach. Let's say I am 6 months away from competition. This is an extremely simple example. Your sets and reps on a proper program are going to change more week to week. So specificity increases over time. So the first 2 months are not hyper specific to my goal. my variations don't look quite as much like a regular bench press. So let's say Tuesday, I'm gonna do a 3x5 on competition bench. We're gonna have 2 reps in reserve, or RIR. Then I'm gonna do 5x5 on 2 board Larson press. Really blows up the triceps and focuses on lockout. That's 8 sets. Thursday, I'm gonna do a 5x5 on close grip Larson press and a 3x5 on 4 press. Let's say RIR is 2 as well. So 2 reps in reserve, RPE 8-ish. Let's say I do that for about a month. And the next month, I don't do the Larson press variations. I go down in sets and reps and go heavier on RPE. Months 3 and 4, I'm gonna get more specific to my goal. So Tuesday, competition bench, 5x3, 2 RIR. 1 board bench, 3x5, 2 to 3 RIR. Thursday, 5 sets of 3, close grip paused, 1 to 2 RIR. As these weeks go on, I'm basically just decreasing the volume and increasing intensity. So increasing weight on the bar and doing less reps. You can kind of see how this is a blend between art and science. Lastly, months 5 and 6, it's pretty specific to my goal, which is the heaviest 1 rep I can do. So Tuesday, competition bench, 3x3, 1 to 2 RIR. We're going pretty heavy now. Thursday, close grip paused, 5 sets of 3, 2 RIR. For me personally, that would probably be it. Maybe a few weeks before competition, my sets and reps will look like Tuesday, competition bench, 3x1, then 2x2. Thursday, close grip bench, paused, 2x2, then lowering the weight and going for 3x3. Of course, then you would taper, and there's a whole science to tapering before competition. That could be a 3-hour-long video. So you see how early on and through the program, we tackle my sticking point and get more specific to my goal over time, which is a paused competition bench press. If I was doing incline and behind the neck presses and chest flies, that would have been, from my personal opinion, wasted volume and energy that I could have been using to press harder on my main lifts and my main accessories. That's just one simple example of how to program. A real program should go into greater detail on sets, reps, and intensity progression. It's just to give you an idea how to do it. If you'd like me to make a video on programming for yourself, let me know. Until then, I'll have some resources in the description. All in all, exercise selection for strength training should focus on your sticking points. If you don't have a reason why you're doing an accessory movement, ask yourself why you're doing it. I do think it's perfectly fine to throw in some volume and some exercises if you have the capacity and you really want to get bigger muscles. All I'm saying is, if you want to train for strength, then train for strength. If your main goal in the next few months is to increase your strength rather than your muscularity, you need to be a little pickier on what you spend your energy on. If you don't know why you're doing incline press right now, or why you're doing single arm overhead press, ask yourself, how's this helping my bench if I really only care about getting a stronger bench? That is, if that's your goal. Real quick, before we close, you can also use bands or chains on bench press. Using both will likely help you with your lockout. Bands will keep constant tension, fighting you the whole way. They can help with speed and explosiveness. Chains are similar, good for locking out. The resistance is smaller at the bottom and gets harder as you press. I like both, so play around with them. You can add them to any accessory lift for an extra challenge on locking out. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts and insights. If you have other cues or accessory movements that really helped you reach a bench press that you're proud of, I'm really interested to read those in the comments. And if you like this content, give a thumbs up to this video. Please give it a like, a comment, and consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow my channel just one day at a time. Thanks for watching. Take care.